Welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, going to go over an article titled, Just Because She's Legal Doesn't Make It Right. Why we must stop pretending that some age gap relationships aren't steeped in misogyny, control, and power. And guys, this article is written by a woman, and once again we have another gal who is bitter and pissed off because guess what? Men are attracted to younger women. Attracted to them, date them, get in relationships with them, and in many cases, marry them. Okay, and it's funny when I read these things, guys. I do a video on these types of articles about once every 3 or 4 months. They tend to pop up, and you would think that this is a new phenomenon, that men getting involved with and dating and being attracted to younger women is brand new. It's never happened at all throughout the course of human history. This is brand new, so these types got to write about it like it's something brand new. It's ridiculous. And these women cannot get over it. I mean, seriously, get over yourselves. Men are attracted to what they're attracted to, and women are attracted to what they're attracted to. End of story. But, as you can imagine, this is another article where she is going to try to shame men and make us feel like we're a bunch of losers and scumbags because guess what? We're attracted to younger women. Now, she's going to focus on more about the types that just becoming 18 years old, 19, 20 years old, and talking about things like that, and making it out to be that's the case with every type of relationship and situation, which obviously is not the case. But using this as an excuse for her to write an article, bitch and complain, and all that. Right? And so you're going to see two things for this article, guys. Number one, you're going to see the obvious and most commonly used shaming tactic on guys to try to shame guys that they wouldn't, God forbid, date a woman that's younger than them, so that way women like her aren't left behind. And two, you're going to notice not once does she ever point the finger at women on this subject. Points at the guys, never once. Because guess what? It takes two to tango. Guess what? You have plenty of women out there that are attracted to older men for a number of reasons. Some are simply attracted to them. Some are them interested in them because of obvious resources. Sometimes about maturity. A whole number of things. Maybe she's got daddy issues, whatever it happens to be. But there are women that do like older guys for a number of reasons, or all those reasons. And yet not once have you heard before the finger being pointed at them. No. We're the bad guys here. So I'm going to go through her article here, guys. I'm going to add my 2 cents to this and make fun of her along the way. So it starts off. Back in 2019, I got myself into a Twitter spat over morality and age gap dating. So right there it starts off in the first sentence. I got myself into a Twitter spat, meaning she's one of these people that goes on social media, stirs up trouble, gets into fights with people. What does that say about her personality and character? She likes drama. She got into a Twitter spat about the age gap dating. She said Leonardo DiCaprio was the subject of my frustration at the time. You got so many women that are pissed off at Leonardo DiCaprio. They used to love Leonardo DiCaprio back in the day, but now that he's in his 40s and he likes to date younger women, I mean, I think 25 years old is pretty much the cap for DiCaprio in terms of age of women. You get all these types that once loved him, now they hate his guts because, God forbid, he's giving bad ideas to men out there. She says he met his current girlfriend, Camilla Marone, when she was just 12 years old, though there's nothing to suggest that it was a S-word relationship at that stage. Her former stepdad, Al Pacino, Leo's close friend, introduced the pair. Camilla is now 20 and Leo is 46. So yes, this is legal relationship, but for me, it felt creepy. Okay, if it to you bothers you, fine. But leave it the hell alone. But nope, she's got to stir up shit because she's pissed off about that and all that. Now, I don't see what Leo's going to at all have in common with a 20-year-old. But he's Leonardo DiCaprio. He can do whatever the fuck he wants. End of story. But at the end of the day, he likes younger women. He's attracted to younger women. A woman's prime is in her late teens and 20s. Okay? But again, these younger women, they're not betrothed to these guys that they go out with. They obviously like them. They like the attention. They like the maturity level of the guys and the resources and things like that. But these women get so pissed off and bent out of shape about this. It's unbelievable. She says, men on the internet disagreed, telling me I was just bitter that I'm no longer youthful enough to bag a millionaire. She says, note to reader, I am 26, and that the age of consent in this country is 16, so it must be okay. Well, look, I'm going to say it right here. Personally, I mean, she mentioned here, she said the age of consent is 16. Look, in my opinion, you're out of your damn mind if for guys are going to try to get involved with someone younger than the age of 18. You're only asking for trouble. It's called jailbait. I don't care about the issue of consent and all that. Look, and honestly, for the guys that are older, what the hell? Come on. I mean, at the very least, 18. But I mean, even then, I wouldn't even bother below 21, to be honest. And even then, maybe probably 25, because what the hell are you going to have in common with them? But that young, below 18, you're out of your damn mind. I'm just saying it right here. And even 18, for God's sakes. But to each their own. But there is a legal. Now there was a time and place where, guess what, women were getting married in their early teens and things like that. But these are obviously not the times, or this certainly not going to happen in this country. But you're just asking for trouble right along that age range. But anyhow, no matter what, she's pissed off if a guy who's 42 dates a woman that's probably 28. So there's no making her happy. He says, this is a topic of conversation that comes up time and time again. Just because it's legal doesn't mean it's right. Where does grooming stop and consensual relationships begin? At 14, I briefly dated a 19-year-old. It wasn't a S-word relationship, and it ended because of this. I wasn't ready, and he was pressuring me. See? She said when she was 14, she was dating a dude that's 19. Now, I don't know what the hell a 19-year-old was thinking with a 14-year-old. I mean, seriously, And what was her family thinking, unless they didn't know about it? But she openly admits when she was 14, because obviously she liked the attention, and the older guy liked her and all that. But still, she made that choice. And yes, she was young. That's fine. But still, regardless, they do it. He says, I briefly dated the 19-year-old, blah, blah, blah. I had older men telling me that they'd hit me up when I was 18, counting down the days. I saw friends being groomed by male friends of their families and teachers. If I'd been given £1 for every time a man approached me when I was underage, and on finding out my age, he said, I seem mature, I wouldn't need to work right now. At 21, I went on a few dates with a 30-year-old who told me he liked them young. So at 21, when she's most certainly a legal adult and knows what she's doing, she admitted here she's going out with a 30-year-old. Okay? So, hypocrite lady, seriously, you were dating a 30-year-old. This guy was almost 50% older than you compared to your 21 of age, and you're bitching? Come on here. And women tend in certain areas to mature faster than men. So 21 years old, you've been around the block, you know what you're doing. Come on here. If you're going to point the finger at guys and make us out to be the root of all evil, for God forbid being attracted to younger women and dating younger women and all that, then you have to hold women accountable as well. Otherwise, you're a big fucking hypocrite. And the fact here that you were doing the same thing when you were younger, come on. So this isn't just happening to celebrities. But as always, celebrity lies shine issues that we face. She says we've seen that with the Kardashian family when the 25-year-old Tyga dated a 17-year-old Kylie Jenner. On the flip side, Scott Disick, 38, is currently dating 20-year-old Amelia Gray Hamlin. His ex-girlfriend, Sophia Richie, was 18 when they started dating, but they had known each other for several years before she was legally dateable, and she is a close friend to Kylie. Well, again, they're talking about this one dude with the girl who was 18, and this other dude with this girl who's 20. I don't see what the hell they have in common with them, but at the end of the day, legally speaking, they are adults. Okay, and again, a lot of these women, particularly obviously these high-profile celebrity girls, they've grown up pretty early on, And again, guess what? She did the same thing. Natalie Portman had been vocal about her relationship with Moby, who claimed in his memoir that they dated briefly when he was 33 and she was 20. Natalie had a very different recounting of this. She says, I was surprised to hear that he characterized the very short time that I knew him as dating, because my recollection is as much an older man being creepy with me. She also clarified that she was 18 at the time, not 20. Well, again, she was a legal adult. She did what she did, and I'm getting the feeling that old Natalie's kind of changing history here a little bit. Just last week, the internet was alight with conversations about Millie Bobby Brown and Hunter Echo, because Hunter, 21, claimed he groomed 17-year-old Millie. The evidence to me points that this is a gendered issue steeped in sexism. Now, before the not all men brigades come for me, let me clarify some things. Of course, not all men, but too many. And yes, there are examples of women engaging in this behavior too, but those cases are rare. There you go. One study found that 7% of married heterosexual couples have age gap of 10 years. And of that, 7% women are older ones in 1% of these couples. I date women. Really? She says, I date women and have never had a similar experience to the above with women. Because you are dating another woman. And it's a different situation with men. It's comparing apples to oranges in this situation. And she says, and finally, most of my female friends have a similar story, and we all had endless attention from adult men when we were teenagers. The men in my life don't have similar experiences. Adult women were not approaching them in a romantic manner as teenagers. Because the adult women were, I guess, obviously 20s or 30s, or let's just say 20s, were interested in the guys in their 30s. That's why. The rebuttal, when women say they find this phenomenon uncomfortable, is that we're wrong because it's legal. But let me ask all those in that camp this. When has legality been equal to morality, or even a sound gauge of what is right and wrong? Oh, here we go. In the UK, until 1841, 12 was the legal age of consent. Marital grape was considered legal until 1992. It wasn't until 1967 that homosexuality was made legal in this country. It took until 1928 for women to have the same voting rights as men. And only last week have some moves been made to criminalize street harassment and S-word harassment, NDAs. Yeah, I'm sure many of you guys heard about that, but they're trying to criminalize what they refer to as street harassment. Catcalling, if you will. And that is a major gray area as to what is considered to be harassment, offensive, whatever. Where literally guys are never going to, and guess what? These same types that are trying to push for this are going to be the same types that are going to complain that guys don't compliment me anymore. Guys don't say anything anymore. Guys don't look at me anymore. I don't get that attention anymore. And they're going to be more on Instagram and social media trying to get more attention because they're not going to get it out when they're out and about. He says, when it comes to consent, the law is hardly a shining beacon of morality. The crux of the issue and why it's so hard to find common ground is because age gaps and dating are case by case, and there is a spectrum. Personally, I see no issue with a 40-year-old dating a 50-year-old, but a 16-year-old dating a 26-year-old, that doesn't sit well with me, because the gap in maturity and life experiences is too large. Well, I agree. That is one thing I agree with. A 26-year-old dude with a 16-year-old girl, I've got a problem with that. Okay, that's night and day difference in life and life experience. She's not a legal adult, and quite frankly, the 26-year-old is out of his freaking mind. Again, jailbait. Come on here. At the very least, wait till she's 18 years old, out of high school. You're out of your freaking mind. And again, what about the girl's family who's 16 that's allowing some of this? Now, in some cases, they may not know because people can hide things. But seriously. So that doesn't sit well with me because the gap in maturity life experience is too large. I do agree with that. It leaves too much room for manipulation and other things and begs the question, why can't you find someone your own age? Well, 26 to 16-year-old, yeah, I agree with that. But if it was a 26-year-old and a 19-year-old, that's a different ballgame. Or if it was a 30-year-old man and a 21-year-old girl, and yet that was the situation with her, by the way, in the beginning of the story. She was 21 dating a 30-year-old, but now all of a sudden that's a bad thing. She did it, but it didn't matter back then. But now that she's older and wiser, now that's a bad thing. She says, why are Scott Disick's of the world dating teenagers as grown-ass men? Is there some classic misogyny at play that the older women get the less attractive they are deemed and therefore traded in for younger models? Look, here's the ugly truth. And I've said this countless times. Men are visual creatures. We're attracted to what we see. And a woman's prime is in her late teens and 20s. Okay? That does not mean that she isn't physically attractive in her 30s or 40s and sometimes 50s if she works hard to take care of herself, keeps herself thin, fit, healthy diet. She takes care of her skin, keeps her hair long, makeup, dresses well, long hair, keeps herself looking youthful. Believe me, she got plenty of darn good looking women in those different age ranges. But they're not going to compare to the prime in their 20s and very late teens, legal teens. Just want to point that out there. Okay? And a lot of guys will lose attraction. It is what it is. You may not like it. You may have been dumped. Okay? And maybe this is why you're writing this and you're bitter about it, but it is what it is. There are plenty of things that women do in terms of what they're attracted to and things they will exchange the current boyfriend for somebody else certain behavior that women have that drive guys crazy. Okay? So guess what? Guys may do things that make you crazy, like the attraction to younger women and sometimes breaking up with their girlfriends because they're for a younger, prettier woman. It happens. But how many guys have been dumped for guys that were perceived as a higher status, made more money, had more resources, were going places, more charming, more popular, whatever happens to be. So there are things that drive us crazy, but guess what? There are plenty of things that we may drive you crazy, but guess what? There's plenty of things that drive men crazy as well. But we're not bitching about as much. You may say, what do you do? That's what you do in this channel, SSM. No. I point things out. I do men's news and do things to help men improve themselves and bring awareness to the masses. I'm not here just complaining and saying, woe is me, and that's it. That's not the situation. She says, moralizing about this is such a complex and gray issue. I skipped a part. It says, or is it more sinister? Okay. Are these young women better partners for grown adult men because they don't yet know their worth and are easier to dominate? Don't yet know their worth. We know about that line about knowing your worth. It goes on, moralizing about this is such a complex and gray issue because an older partner isn't always predatory. And most age gap relationships, I'm sure, are fully functioning and healthy. Yeah, the majority are. So get over it. And by the way, and I know this would ruffle her feathers if she happened to see this video, my dad and my mom, when they went out on their first date, my dad, wait for it, was 45 years old. How old do you think my mom was? 21. And because of that, you have little old me here doing these videos that piss off a lot of women. That's right. My dad was married before, and the marriage was unhappy, had lots of kids, and eventually he got out. And this is obviously a long time ago when divorce wasn't as common, but he got out. And once he got his shit together and he was happy and he was ready to start doing relationships and dating again, met my mom. My dad was a doctor and a naval officer, and he was a pilot in the Pacific. So let's just say my dad was a high status man. He was a catch and had no problem with the young nurses. And he started dating my mom when she was 21 and he was 45. And believe me, my mom was happy. He was happy. Hell, even my grandparents, my mom's parents, they were quite happy because my grandmother got to say, eventually my son-in-law, the doctor, my son-in-law, the naval officer, my son-in-law, the pilot in the Pacific in World War II, everybody was happy. So there you go. And they had a happy marriage. So to this lady, fuck off. Just because you're unhappy, stop trying to make it out to be that this is this horrible injustice and everybody else is. Anyhow, had to get that off my chest. But don't we have a responsibility to safeguard the young adults in our life if they could be vulnerable? Because it's not as clear-cut as saying that unless we're told there's an issue, we should leave people alone and get on with their relationships. You can warn young women all you want. Do you think that's going to do anything? Would that have stopped you when you were younger, going out with older guys? Come on here. Seriously, lady. I agree with some elements of what you're saying here, but what really is going on, what's really between the lines here, which really is below the surface, is you're just pissed off that these guys going out with younger women, and you probably feel passed over. And you said you're 26 years old, that already that maybe you feel like you're missing out on some things. Who the hell knows? But guys are attracted to what they're attracted to. Women are attracted to what they're attracted to. And by the way, stop pointing it at guys. Point also at the young women. Because guess what? Again, like I said before, it's not like they're betrothed or anything. They are voluntarily going out with these guys. They're making the choice. Stop making them to be the victims. And that us guys are once again the bad guys in the situation. It's ridiculous. It takes two to tango. She finishes up saying, as a teen, I was told to find the attention of older men flattering, that it meant I was mature for my age. I didn't characterize a lot of these events as issues or grooming until I was older. And in the instances I did feel uncomfortable, I certainly never called it out or told anyone. I wish someone had stepped in and warned me that older men probably aren't interested in me because of my glowing maturity. They could have warned you, and it wouldn't have mattered because you would have loved the attention and validation. You would have loved that. And having an older guy interested in you. I mean, that's just how it is. I guarantee if somebody went back in time and told younger you, it wouldn't matter. Just like it wouldn't matter to a lot of young... There are a lot of young women out there that, sure, they made mistakes. They've done things they regret. and they would love to say, I wish I could go back in time and tell my younger self. But do you really think your younger self would have listened? There are things I wish I could go back in time and tell my younger self to do or not to do, as a young teenager, an older teenager, high school and all that. And maybe I might listen if I literally went back in time and my younger self saw older me telling me these things. But if just a random person told me this when I was a teenager, I would have been like kiss my ass. That would have been my attitude, and probably would be the attitude of most young girls, young women being told some of these things that she wants to say, watch out for those older men. Da, da, da. Come on, you can't tell me their fathers haven't told them that. Even in some cases, their mothers have told them that. Didn't matter. But the point is that this whole thing, it's not really about the younger thing. It's just she's pissed off. That's what it really is about. And I do agree, like I said before, and I'll be fair here on this channel, I do agree. I do this 26 dating a 16-year-old. What the hell are they going to talk about? And come on here. Yes, he can get somebody older, and he's just asking for trouble. That's called jailbait. 16, you're out of your goddamn mind, dude. Or anybody else in situations like that. And I agree with that. That's way too far. But once they're in college, 18, 19, 20 years old, even though that's not what I would do, they are legal adults. They can vote. They can join the military. They can go to war. It is what it is. But anyhow, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Let me know about this. Have you guys experienced this with women shaking their finger at you and trying the shaming tactic to make you feel bad for those of you guys that date and do relationships and have younger girlfriends? I'd like to hear about that. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.